GM George Paton has broken out the checkbook once again. This time he's given the bag to wide receiver Courtland Sutton as we have some Broncos breaking news coming at you here on the Broncos Breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. Ian Rappaport, he has this to say on the contract extension. The Broncos reach an agreement on a big-time extension for standout wide receiver Courtland Sutton. His agency, Milk Honey Sport, which is an awesome name personally, tells me and Tom Pelissero. It's a 4-year, $60.8 million extension with $34.9 million guaranteed. After a torn ACL in 2020, he's back as a star and was rewarded like one. So before we get into more of the reaction and the contract news, guys, grade the extension for me. Give it an A, B, C, D, or F. I don't really know how you can give it a D or an F. I'll give you my grade in just a moment, but head on down to the comments section. Let me know what grade you guys are giving this one. But the extension here for the Broncos is a big one, and that's why I'm giving this an A. Maybe an A minus just because you already have Jerry Jeudy. You invested in Tim Patrick. You don't want to do overkill too much at the wide receiver position. But that's being a little, cynical. I like this extension a lot. An A for me is pretty easy to give because of you probably would have gotten more if you let him sneak into free agency. He was in the last year of his contract. The only knock right now against Sutton, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a moment, is that he's yet to really develop as a wide receiver when Jerry Jeudy is also on the field, and he invested a first-round pick in Jeudy. So you hope these two not can figure out how to play together, but the two of them, along with a hopefully better quarterback, can get a better mesh going. But this is just the latest GM George Paton breaking news, and that's why I think Paton is just bored. He was making a handful of trades, acquired Stephen Weatherly, got Kenny Young from the Rams, shipped away Von Miller, and now he's looking around like, so the trade deadline's over, what can I do next? He just kind of comes in and reminds me of like Michael Scott sitting at his desk looking for a little task to do. So why not extend a handful of your wide receivers? Gave Tim Patrick the bag earlier. When I saw that news, my first reaction was, I hope this doesn't mean Courtland Sutton's not going to get paid because you want to see Sutton stay in Denver for years to come. And it turns out it was all in the plan here, all in the works. So they get Patrick under contract for a handful of years. I'll show you what the future of the Broncos wide receiver room will look like later on in the video. And then they also get Courtland Sutton to stick around as well. But guys, this is why you subscribe to the channel. That way, when breaking news comes out, you're not waiting 8 to 9 hours for a video. We're hopping on the case here. We're getting the latest Broncos news and rumors all year long to you. So if you have not already, I would really appreciate it if you head on down, hit that big red button, and subscribe today. Some quick notes, though, on Courtland Sutton. He's on track to be in that Demaryius Thomas and Brandon Marshall-esque. Thomas, of course, a much more favored Bronco and much more longer tenured Bronco, but he's on track just numbers-wise of what he's done so far in his career. He stacks up pretty close to those two guys, so that's good company to be in. Like I mentioned earlier, he took less money now than if he waited for free agency, but he also guarantees himself money, and he got an ACL injury last year. You don't want to play with fire, so why not take the bag? You know, a little bit of a Scottie Pippen move, but hey, it's 2021. You don't want to mess around with money these days. And it's up to him to learn how to play with Jerry Jeudy. So far this season, he's been one of the best wide receivers for the Broncos. 43 receptions for 617 yards. He's got a pair of TDs as well. But I would like to see him put better numbers together when Jerry Jeudy's on the field. Because that stretch, these stats really come from that post-week 1 stretch up until Jeudy returning for the Washington game. Since then, he's been pretty quiet. He was quiet in the Dallas game, didn't do a whole lot at all in the Eagles game. So want to see these two work together in tandem and not have it be an off night for one and on for the other. With that said, though, pick a wide receiver 1 for me. I'm going to make this the pinned comment. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down, reply for me, let me know who you think is wide receiver 1, CS for Courtland Sutton, or JJ for Jerry Jeudy. I think it's a 1A and 1B or a 1 and 1A kind of situation. You can never have too many good wide receivers. In this day and age, I don't know if it's really all about who's the team's best wide receiver. Look at the Bucs, for example. You have Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans. Could you definitively say which one is actually the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver? Not really. They alternate games, and that's fine, and it works, okay? Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen right now in Minnesota. Jefferson's pulling away, but you don't need have a clear-cut one and then a Batman to Robin anymore for the wide receiver position. So I don't know if you really have one who's ahead of the other. I just like to see them both be productive at the same time. Broncos fans, if you have not checked out our sportsbook partner, BetUS, what are you doing? We're halfway through the season. This awesome deal is still out there, but I can't say it's going to last forever. They're getting you a 125% deposit bonus for just going to the chatsports.com/bet link, plugging in the promo code Broncos125. Listen, you don't have to bet on Denver. I love making some parlays. I put out my picks on my Twitter account every single Sunday morning at Matthew Peterson. Follow me if you have not already. And that way you can get in on, some 3-2, 4-1 action. I can't guarantee winners, but I can guarantee a great deal at BetUS. So check them out today. Get that deposit bonus before the season is up. GM George Paton, though, he has been busy since coming to Denver last spring, and he's made a handful of big moves, and I think I like what he's doing here in terms of putting pieces together for the future. Look at his 5 biggest moves, in my opinion, so far. You drafted Javonte Williams and Patrick Surtain. Maybe you could argue would have liked to seen the Mac Jones or Justin Fields pick instead of Surtain, but time will tell on that. So far, I like both picks. You've locked up your corner for the future and a running back for the future. Extend Justin Simmons, really the heart and soul of this defense since Von Miller left. You extend Shelby Harris. That way you get yourself better on the interior defensive line. And now, recently, you've extended Tim Patrick and Courtland Sutton. So he is keeping future pieces for the long haul. And altogether, he has created a nice stockpile of 2022 NFL draft picks, getting to himself a handful of second and thirds, 5 picks in the top 100, and he has looked pretty good. So far, the Broncos are in pretty good shape to make a run at either a quarterback or trade those picks for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Whatever it may be, he's got both options. So GM George Paton has a lot of flexibility for this upcoming NFL draft. One more time, I want to check out this wide receiver contract room. Mentioned it earlier. Here's what it looks like going forward. You got Sutton through 2025. Patrick's just 2024. Jeudy with that 5th-year option comes out to 2024, and he's certainly on track to get that 5th-year option picked up. And then KJ Hamler behind it, just 2023. Looking forward to getting Hamler back next season. The Broncos really miss him. That's really evident. But whoever the quarterback is, they've got plenty to work with, and that's where it all comes down, at least in my opinion, to the quarterback pick. Whether you're making a trade for Rodgers or Wilson, whether you're drafting Sam Howell or Desmond Ridder or someone else from this upcoming QB draft class, you have all the pieces in front of you, Malik Willis, I'm just thinking of other college quarterbacks at this point, to make a good choice. I think this upcoming decision on who the next Broncos quarterback will be the deciding factor in what GM George Paton's legacy is in Denver. If you botch this after investing a lot in the surrounding pieces, it's not going to be pretty, because when these contracts, we got to wait another year or two to get the right quarterback, and at that point, all these contracts are close to expiring, and you wasted a lot of time. So a huge decision is coming up for George Paton on who the quarterback will be for the Broncos in the years to come. Broncos are back in action this Sunday. Did everyone enjoy the Sunday off? It's nice not having the anxiety, but at the end of the day, you'd rather see your team out there and take the heart attack that comes with it. So predict the score for me this upcoming Sunday afternoon. Broncos, Chargers, let me know who you got. Wasn't fun seeing Justin Herbert walk down the field and knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers on a bit of a walk-off-esque touchdown late in the game. But predict the score for me. Let me know who you got in this one down below. Final thoughts here to wrap it up here. I like this move altogether. You get your wide receiver 1/1A down for the future. Whoever the quarterback is coming in next season, because you know it's not going to be Bridgewater or Locke, has a lot of great targets to work with and has complementary defense. I love this move from GM George Paton, and the Broncos are stacking up a great roster and just need that one final piece.